This wild life we live is a blessing for me. Today the dreams to be old mate. Cause I'm having a wonderful day. Hey, hey, I'm having a wonderful day. This wild life we live is a blessing for me. Today the dreams to be old mate. Cause I'm having a wonderful day. Hey, hey.
Welcome, good people. Welcome, Moroccan Moors, aka Black people, aka Moorish subjects. Start off the way we normally start off, having been starting off that way, that our goal is to uplift fallen humanity. One person, one family, one neighborhood, one city, one state at a time. Today, just going to get right into it, and people will come as we go. Basically, want to, as I started off yesterday, speaking about, a little bit of my life, of me getting into the streets. And it's a little story. When I was younger, I used to want to make money. I always wanted to make money. So I used to go to Pathmark. I don't know if any of you are familiar, depend on your age and where you are, you'll be familiar with Pathmark. Used to go to Pathmark, help people, sometimes pack bags until they say that, you couldn't do that anymore. Then what I used to do is I used to help people carry their bags to their car. So, make a couple dollars. So what I did this one day, I was helping this lady, older lady, carry her bags to, she didn't have a car. So I actually helped her carry her bags to, I don't know if you guys know, from 17th Ave. I used to live on 17th Ave in Paterson, New Jersey. So Pathmark was down the street from my house. So I carried the bags from 17th Ave actually to probably Broadway or close to Broadway. Now, at which time, the lady, she was an older lady, gave me a nickel, and at that time I was kind of into, you know, the white and black thing before I got familiarized with how the white and black thing actually plays us to the left, both who identify with it. But that's another story. So after she gave me the nickel, I was pretty, you know, carried two heavy bags. And after carrying those two heavy bags, I was pretty angry, pretty, beside myself. But she gave me a nickel. So from that day on, I had said to myself, I'm not carrying no more bags. So I probably was about maybe like 9, 10 years old. Shortly after that, I got interested in selling drugs. I got interested in selling drugs, basically from people in my neighborhood. I seen older guys dressing nice and actually, what we call stunting. Now, my other reason, so when I started off at an early age selling pills, went from pills to weed, went from weed to angel dust, from angel dust to cocaine. Ultimately, I got into selling crack. Selling crack for years, selling weed, selling angel dust, and selling mescaline. All of these things I was selling at this time, from 14 till 20s, to my 20s. And, by the time I got to my 20s, I started to realize that what I was doing at a point when what motivated me to do it was, in my mind, I was saying that I was selling drugs so that I wouldn't be forced to work a white man's job. That's what was in my mind. Ultimately, when the crack came out, I realized that I had the wrong concept. I realized from seeing the results of crack, and mind you, I knew about heroin, dope, but I kind of grew up around the Fourth Ward, and I didn't, want to get into the dope because I've seen the results of that early. So I actually got into which I realized later on that the crack was prop was really worse than the dope. Got into that. And I'm telling you this story. I'm not telling you this story to glorify drugs. I'm taking you on a journey so that you understand, those of you who may be out there, what you call it now, trapping, so that you'll understand that if you're out there doing or living that type of life, there's redemption if you don't allow yourself to go too far. So speed it up, started to see individuals who were, you know, great straight A students, straight A students, both, guys and girls, guys out there, going bonkers. Women ultimately turned women from good girls to basically prostitutes. This is what the crack era did, and we are still basically recovering from the crack era. So I'm telling you this so that you understand why I'm so passionate about what I do here Monday through Friday, the Live at 5. I tell you this so that you'll know that I lived a life and I wasn't always talking about, even, let me rephrase that. I did talk about us as a people doing better. I always was on that. However, my actions didn't really show it because I'm saying that I want us as a people to do better. But on the other side, I'm selling drugs to my people and messing up the neighborhood. That's what I was doing. So, make a long story short, to shorten a longer story, I met my girlfriend at the time. I was 19, 20. And this is why I say it's so important for you guys out there who are, you guys and girls who are looking for someone, to make sure that you don't just look for someone just, when you're ready to actually be in a relationship and form a unity with another person. Be mindful of the type of person that you actually choose. Be mindful that it's not just motivated sexually, because realistically, how long do you be in the bed? So after you get out of the bed, that's where the real relationship is. We've been manipulated by social media, by the media itself, and by the American society to focus more on sex rather than a connection, rather than compatibility, being able to be compatible with someone. The reason I'm speaking about all of this stuff, because you know my position. My position is us building our own government. And in order to build our own government, there's still necessary precautions or necessary moves that we're going to need to make. We're still going to need to work on ourselves as a collective so that we will be prepared to be able to make that transition into government. It's not going to be easy, so therefore there are other things that is necessary for us to start working on simultaneously at best, because we don't have the luxury to just do one thing at the point where we at as a people. We don't have the luxury to just work on one thing as people. So now let's let's look at why it's important for us to start working on these things, to start changing these things. It's important based on what we need to do to be able to put the state together, to be able to understand what we will be able to obtain from doing this. Let's look at let's look at Black versus America. Let's look at that. Black versus America, it means that, okay, as Black people, we don't we don't own our own supermarkets, we don't own our own schools, we don't own our own hospitals, we don't own our own government. We don't own anything as Black people. So therefore, as Black people, it's our duty and our obligation to put ourselves in a position where we will be able to own what it is that we struggle and fight for. Like, okay, what's the in schools, we don't have power over what is taught to our children. If the school system decides that they don't want to teach anything about our history, we have really no say. Sure, we go to the Board of Education, scream and shout. However, how much does that really do? So ultimately, it's about us being in a position to be able to negotiate with America. And right now, as so called Black people, we're not in a position to negotiate. We only are in a position to ask. So, my thing is, the whole thing about the whole black and white is it's the obstacle that keeps the whole racist thing going, and it keeps people playing one people against another, just like the Democrats and the Republicans. If you're watching the Democrats and the Republicans, you're looking at so-called Black individuals talking about two candidates that saying one or the other is prejudiced. However, those same people who are saying that one or the other candidate is prejudiced and don't care about so-called Black people, they are still promoting a so-called white candidate. So how does that fix the issues that many people speak about when they start talking about uh, black and white? Now, for me, it's not about black and white. It's about having our nationality, our legal identity, and putting together a constitution, having a flag, and having a state seal, the three branches of government: legislative, judicial, and executive, putting those three branches of government together, and then doing it statewide, citywide, and then utilizing that formula to spread throughout the whole the other 43 states. Then once we are able to do that, we're able to put ourselves in a position where we no longer have to ask, we no longer have to beg, we no longer have to plead, we no longer have to worry about being the minority when it comes to anything that we want to do, because by having our own government, it puts us in a position to be the majority. We no longer have to be the minority. And we talk about unifying, and this is the best way that we unify. Why? We unify because we're able to create something, recreate something that is totally ours, that we totally have the power over, and no one gets to tell us what to do except us. Imagine what that will be like for young people. Imagine the mindset that a lot of young people have now, where it's difficult for them to listen to us because when it comes to authority figures normally don't look like us. When the police, when they go to dealing with police, the majority of the police, when they go to the courthouse, and when they're in prison or jail, they are dealing with people who don't look like them. So now, even dealing with teachers, when they're dealing with teachers. So why are our children so discombobulated and confused? Because at the end of the day, we as a people claiming black are not in position to be recognized as a dominant authority in their lives. And that we need to put a stop to. And the only way we put a stop to it is you guys start sharing what I'm sharing, share these videos because I start posting them. You can go to the old ones and start posting them, find pieces out of them and share it with other people because we need to get away from identifying ourselves as black people because it's hurting us. It's hurting us more than helping us. And remember, there's a mindset that we don't control that other people have about black people. Remember, America has created um, an image that it constantly perpetuates about black people. Sure, we get an opportunity to say black excellence and black entertainment and certain type of things. However, but when people come here and they encounter with us, they only interact with us based on what? Based on us being the descendants of ex-slaves. That's all we have as being black, African American, people of color. That's all we have. Now, why wouldn't we want to reestablish ourselves as something on a higher level? And the only way we're going to be able to do that is if people like yourselves take what I'm saying seriously and really start doing your research and really start diving in. As I've said on other occasions, you could go on my page, you can start with looking up Impact 132 or start with one, go to YouTube and look that up. Just watch the brother. Take 15, 20 minutes, watch the brother. Get the information because this is ultimately our last stand. If we're not able to put together our own government and be able to negotiate on equal terms with the United States of America's government and those individuals whom we like to call white people are not our problem. Some of the people who make the laws are what we would identify as white, but some of those people who make the laws and putting us in precarious situations identify as black. So we can't get twisted thinking that it's all about what the white person is doing to us because some of them other people look just like us and they're putting us in precarious situations as well. So therefore, our relief comes with doing the work that is going to be necessary to get us out of the situation that we're in. And the situation we're in is basically being ruled by laws, laws that we don't have a real say in them getting written down or passed. Constantly, you're going to hear people talking about it. You're going to hear people talking about vote. You're going to hear people talking about your ancestors died so that you can vote. Our ancestors died, and they died because many of them didn't know who they were. But those who did know would want us to reestablish our own government. Those are the ones that we are striving to uphold honor to because they knew who they were, and we are doing them a disservice every time we keep calling ourselves black and being proud of it. Because at the end of the day, what is to be proud about a people who have looked at as former slaves? And that means when we talk about the white people, they look at themselves as the descendants of the masters. So, with a mindset of black and white, we are being looked at as the former slaves, and they're looking at us as former slaves, and subconsciously we're looking at them as the former masters. So therefore, we already got a grudge match going between us. With that happening, how do we work together? When we come to the realization of the majority of the history that was told to us had been manipulated for the purpose of keeping us at a certain level, at a certain mindset, then we can begin to overcome the lies or the capping and begin to start to reestablish, reestablish ourselves, reestablish our government. We have our own government, but we have empty seats. Why do we have empty seats? Because we have a lot of individuals who are running to become a part of the United States government, where the United States Constitution doesn't acknowledge us. It doesn't represent us. How many times do I need to say this to you all? If the Constitution represented us, we wouldn't be having conversations that we have. We wouldn't feel like we feel. We wouldn't go through what we go through. So we all know that the United States Constitution is not benefiting us. And the only sense that it makes for us is to put together our own constitution, and that's as the United States of Morocco, the Empire of Morocco, and then each individual state. Then we come together as a state, as a state, as a whole, come together and begin governing ourselves. That's our only true way to regain our manhood and womanhood. Otherwise, we are always going to be at a disadvantage, because anytime we see that we are making some leeway, all America has to do is go and write a legislation or put together some type of law, and we're back to square one. And how many times has this happened to us, and how many times is it going to continue to happen to us until we utilize this this recently surfacing information and began to reestablish our own government? When are we going to just wake up and say, oh, enough is enough? Let's reestablish our government. Let's begin to put that black thing to the side, because to me, it's in the way, people. It's in the way because it's got too much negative connotation that we're unable to repair. As Moroccan Moors, we get the chance to repair. We get the chance to reestablish. We get the chance to say who we are to people without people having a preconceived notion about who we are based on us saying we black and African American. That I can't stress enough. We go through the motions, we go through the hardships, we go through the struggles, and we continuously going in the what you call the hamster wheel. We're just going in circles, spinning on the hamster wheel, not really going nowhere. Get a few crumbs here and there. That's not enough for us, people. It's not enough for me. We are able to accomplish the thing that many people don't believe is possible for us to accomplish. And it begins with, as I said, it begins with, oh, I'm not black. Black is something that describes me. I'm a Moroccan Moor. That's who I am. Or I'm a subject of Morocco. I'm a Moroccan subject. Until we reestablish our states, then we become Moroccan nationals. Because right now we stateless. We only have America, and America makes us a citizen, which make us a dependent or a employee of America that it gets to dictate. We can't. let's go down to some stuff that we're unable to do, we're unable to change. No matter who goes in office, we're still going to have to, we're still going to be forced to. If you get your driver's license, you're going to pay insurance. And if you're paying insurance, who where's your insurance money going? Where's your insurance money going? Without us being able to put together our own, we're not going to be able to make the changes that we so desperately need, we so desperately desire. Just look at our position. Many of us have to go to work every day, 5 days a week, sometimes overtime. Do we have a say on the minimum wage? Do we have a say of how much tax is going to be taken out? Do we have a say on what we got to spend on insurance? Do we have a say on what the interest rates are going to be? Do we have a say in any of that? No. No matter who we vote for, Democrat or Republican, we don't have a say. We don't get a say in that. Now, many of you who are watching, maybe you want to be a state official. Maybe someone in your family wants to be a state official. But at least now we began to dialogue amongst ourselves about what laws will be feasible for us, how we can govern ourselves. Can you imagine the power that we will take back by being able to start to govern ourselves? No, it's not going to be an easy fix, but it's going to be a fix that is worthwhile. It's definitely going to be something that will go down in the history books, because what history do we have now? When you look us up, what do you find? What do you find for African American? What type of history do you find for a black person? What type of history do you find? We get the opportunity to redefine our history, to write us back in history, to rewrite the story, to change the scenario, to grasp what we haven't been able to hold on to. And a lot of times we barely have our dignity. Many times we barely have our dignity, because if America decides, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because at the end of the day, what we as people have the right to govern ourselves under our own laws that we got together to write the Constitution. We got together to write the laws. These are our laws, our Constitution that represents us, that we go back to and have recognized us, that we pledge our allegiance to our flag, not America's flag, our flag. This is our way out. This is the talk that we must be talking about. This is what must be going on. We don't have the time to be saying what the white man did and what the white man don't. The white man is not the problem. The white man only becomes a problem as long as we call ourselves black. The white man is a problem. When we become Moroccan subjects, Moroccan Moors, Moroccan national, the white man is not an issue to us. The white man don't become an issue to us, because then we able to deal with him as he deals with us, when he must abide by our laws, and we get the chance to walk around and hold our heads up as dignified nationals, not as American citizens, not as descendants of former slaves. No, as dignified Moroccan nationals. We got 10 seconds left. I'm urging you guys, do some research, do some studying, Help me be able to put these other 43 states together. I want next time, Monday, I want you guys to start putting your cities in your states so I know where you're from. All right? Until Monday, I love you like I love myself, and show love the way you want to receive love. Peace. I'm out.